Member countries of ECOWAS have now congratulated Nigeria for the successful conduct of the country's election that led to the emergence of President Bola Tinubu. The president of Guinea-Bissau, Umaro Embaló, commended Nigeria for the sustenance of peace and strengthening of democracy in the West African region. He also said the situation in Mali, the Republic of Guinea, and Burkina Faso with regards to the prolongation of the transition period represents a regression of the values of democratic rule of law adopted by member states through the supplementary protocol on democracy as well as good governance. He insists that the return of democracy in the three countries is significant in the search for political stability in the sub-region.
I would like, therefore, to welcome President Tinubu to his first meeting of the ECOWAS Authority. On behalf of the community institutions, I would like to extend our felicitation and best wishes in piloting the affairs of Africa's biggest economy and the largest country, the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
To warmly congratulate our brothers President Bola Tinubu of Nigeria and the Julius Maada Bio of Sierra Leone on the election and their election respectively, to the supreme magistracy of their country, and wish them great success and considering the fact of these two great brothers people.
For more on this development, I'm joined by publisher Inside Watch Africa, Oluwaseyi Adeyemo. I'm also joined by Honorable Frederick Opare Ansah, who is a Ghanaian politician. He was a former ECOWAS Parliament member. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the program. Let's begin from Ghana. So you were a member of the ECOWAS Parliament, and we understand that the chairmanship position is held by one of the heads of government on a rotational basis of 1 year. What I need you to explain to us, however, is how do they choose the chairman? Because the Nigerian president was chair only 5 years ago, and there were about 15 members in that community.
Thank you very much, and let me once again congratulate Nigeria on your elections in February.
Honorable Ansah, you have to unmute yourself. We can't hear you from here.
Of the ECOWAS. Indeed, the rotational nature of the chairmanship of the heads of authority of ECOWAS, the summit, is not like the rotational nature of the speakership of the parliament, where it goes through an alphabetical rotation. So currently, I think Nigeria finished with His Excellency Madu, and then it moved from N to Senegal for Honorable Excellency Sissoco, and then now it's in Sierra Leone. The authorities is usually, it's the highest level of the community institutions. And so there is some talk amongst the heads of state, and depending on the gravity of the situation facing the region and the kind of leadership that they are expecting to get, they talk among themselves and then decide to choose a particular person to lead at a time. You would find that Ghana has led severally, Nigeria has led severally. These are among probably some of the best economies that you have around the region. And so the leadership does come with some responsibilities. And usually you would find that those with the necessary gravitas tend to lead more often. Occasionally, you will find some members of some of the smaller economies also leading. But I think in current terms, the Nigerian leadership is apt and will go a long way to really cement the integration process that is being championed by ECOWAS.
All right, let me quickly bring in my next guest, Mr. Adeyemo, on the conversation. You heard Honorable Ansah talk about the responsibility and the expectation for the chair his role in conflict resolution is expected to also advocate and liaise with the president of the ECOWAS Commission. But I'm just concerned if what your thought is, what do you make of the president taking up this role? Does it put him in an advantage position to fulfill his campaign promises back at home, or you consider it a distraction?
First of all, I would also like to congratulate Nigeria and the president for this election. The truth of the matter is, whether he likes it or not, because we're Nigeria and our size economically and politically, consistently and continuously will be called upon to lead organizations as state. The truth of the matter is, and that's why some of us are always very, very particular on the kind of person that end up to become the president of Nigeria, because at the end of the day, beyond what you're expected to do at home as the president of Nigeria, you're also expected to provide leadership for the region and in all sorts of affairs. So yes, he does his job very well as chair. He would naturally add to his wins or to his gains as being the president of Nigeria, because the expectation is, as a country, the people expect us to provide leadership for the rest of Africa. I mean, a lot of things are, have been thrust on our shoulders regards economy and political strength, and you can't have that. It's like being the elder brother in the house. Whether you like it or not, you must brace up to occupy the leadership role. So it would not eventually have any negative impact on his political declarations or on the things he promised that he was going to deliver to Nigerians when he was campaigning.
We're counting on that. Honorable answer. The new chair is talking tough about the need to put an end to the incessant coup in the sub-region. There's been 7 of them in the past 4 years, 5 successful, 2 failed. I'm wondering what you think about ECOWAS's response in this regard.
Well, even that goes to the heart of the matter that you raised with the previous speaker about whether his responsibilities will, in ECOWAS, will distract him from his home responsibilities or not. And he gave an apt response. Nigeria is a big brother in the region. You think if there is strife in Ghana tomorrow, where will I be heading? I'll be heading straight to Niger. It's my next hope. And it is true for a lot more people in the region. So it is important that as the head of state of Nigeria, when you have the opportunity to lead ECOWAS, you ensure that there is peace and stability in the entire region, because any little problem anywhere, Nigeria will be the first port of call for all of us as a safe haven. Indeed, his call on the nations to respect democratically elected governments and for cessation of coup d'etats is apt. But it also calls on ECOWAS to do a little more in terms of the guarding against the intrusion at the Sahelian region in respect of the proliferation of small arms into the sub-region. Because of what has happened up north in Africa, especially what happened in Libya, a lot of small arms found its ways into our sub-region. And that has been part of the causes of the destabilization of several governments. We will also need to support each other so that the economies of some of the most deprived nations within the sub-region also come up a little better. Food security is very important. When the people are happy, when the people feel comfortable, you will see that there is generally no appetite for disruptions of democratically elected governments. Every soldier who is picking up the gun to remove a government first needs to feel the pulse, the temperature in the country to see whether they will be accepted or not. So it's important that as leaders of ECOWAS, as leaders of the sub-region, President Tinubu and his colleagues will ensure that the policies that the stronger countries help shape will also uplift some of the smaller and weaker countries. You will notice that most of the places where we are having these coup d'etats do have some major economic challenges as well. So quite apart from the weakened security of the Sahelian frontier of ECOWAS, we also need to ensure that we are helping to improve the economies of the weaker countries.
Mr. Adeyemo, the Honorable talked about the leadership role Nigeria has played for the sub-region over the years. Talk to us about how that has evolved and what should be the focus this time under the chairmanship of the Nigerian president.
I'm sure you will agree with me that in recent times, it seems to some extent we've taken some back role. And that obviously is an anomaly. The truth of the matter is we must take leadership. And I like the fact that Mr. President, reiterated that fact by saying that Nigeria is back to take his rightful place because, like I said, God in his infinite mercy gave Nigeria a little more surplus. And whether we like it or not, you cannot have that to yourself alone. You must be willing to share. The example I give is if you have some food in your house, and you have a friend who has unimpeded access to coming in and out of your house. The Yoruba people will say you must provide for them as well, because if you do not, at the end of the day, whatever you've provided for yourself will not be enough for you to feed them. And so talking about providing leadership for the rest of Africa is not something we should discuss, for too long, because it's a natural thing and we must do it first for our security. Secondly, for the fact that we signed on to this treaty. This treaty calls on us to have a unified economy. It is, it's a union that we had signed on 48 years ago. Indeed. And it is something we must live up to and we must do rightly. And like I said, we must provide leadership that is naturally trust on us by God. Whether President Tinubu is chairman or not, Nigeria will always be called upon to provide leadership, whether on the side or from the front or from the rear.
Gentlemen, we have to go now. I must say a big thank you. Oluwaseyi Adegoke Adeyemo is publisher Inside Watch Africa. Thank you for your insight on the program. Honorable answer. Hopefully, all you have to come to do in Nigeria's vacation, there will be trouble back at home. As a former member of the ECOWAS Parliament.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for contributing on the program as well.